like you. Be strong to hold the powers of the sun. To dream, believe in strength. Now I'm the only one.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Diorpop. Have you ever felt that there is someone whose presence is so calm, so steady, that without even realizing it, they become the safest place to return to? Not because of sweet words spoken aloud. Not because of promises made in moments of emotion. But because of the way they stand beside you, quietly, loyally, always ready to protect without needing to be asked. At Diorpop, we believe that the most beautiful stories are often hidden within moments so small they almost go unnoticed. A brief glance that lingers just a second longer than it should. A distance that is never truly distant. A togetherness that feels so natural, so effortless, that it never needs to be explained. Today, we invite you to step into a story about an inseparable closeness. About Jimin, who has never truly been able to drift away from Jungkook, and about Jungkook, a presence too handsome and too strong, not only in the eyes of the world, but in the heart of the one he protects. Let us begin this story with honesty, softness, and meaning. Jimin often wonders when exactly those feelings began to grow this deep. They did not arrive suddenly like a storm. They did not demand attention or announce themselves loudly. Instead, they rooted themselves quietly, slow, steady, almost invisible. Until one day, Jimin realized they had become part of his breath, something essential to his existence. Since when had Jungkook's presence stopped being just someone sharing the same room, and instead become something Jimin needed to feel whole? There are days when the world feels far too loud for Jimin. Camera flashes that never stop. Expectations of perfection that press down relentlessly. A stage that demands constant brilliance. And yet, in the middle of all that noise, there is always one calm center, Jungkook. Even without speaking, just by standing close, Jungkook makes Jimin feel like he has finally come home. Jimin comes to accept a truth he can no longer deny. He cannot be apart from Jungkook. Not because of fragile dependence, not because of weakness, but because Jungkook is his anchor. The one who keeps him standing when everything else feels unsteady. Jungkook walks with certainty, with a grounded confidence that makes it seem as though the world cannot easily shake him. His shoulders are firm, his posture steady, his gaze sharp yet warm. His handsomeness is not merely about appearance, it is an aura, a quiet strength, a confidence that does not seek attention. And Jimin notices all of it, his heart reacting even when he tries to appear unaffected. To Jimin, Jungkook is impossibly handsome in ways words can barely describe. Too strong. Too real. Like someone created not only to stand beneath bright stage lights, but to shield, to guard, to protect. There are countless small moments the cameras never capture. Moments only they know. Times when Jimin is exhausted and instinctively steps closer without realizing it. Times when Jungkook immediately adjusts his pace so Jimin can walk comfortably beside him. No questions asked. No hesitation. As if their bodies already understand each other better than words ever could. Jimin likes standing just slightly behind Jungkook when the crowd becomes overwhelming. Not because he is weak, but because he feels safe there. Jungkook always knows when to step forward, when to block the world so it does not touch Jimin too harshly. In silence, Jungkook becomes a protector. In stillness, he becomes a shield. Jimin often finds himself smiling for no clear reason, simply because everything feels so natural. With Jungkook, he does not need to pretend to be strong all the time. He does not need to maintain a perfect smile. Beside Jungkook, Jimin is allowed to be himself. Soft, sensitive, honest. Long nights after exhausting schedules become quiet witnesses to their closeness. Sitting side by side. Shoulders brushing lightly. Breathing slowly, falling into the same rhythm. There are no heavy conversations, no dramatic confessions. Just presence, and the understanding that presence alone is enough. Sometimes, Jungkook glances at Jimin with a look that is difficult to translate into words, a mixture of care, attention, and unwavering resolve. The look of someone ready to stand in front of anything for the person beside him. And Jimin always sees it. He sees how Jungkook controls his emotions to keep the atmosphere calm. How he chooses maturity when situations grow tense. How he never allows Jimin to feel alone, even in rooms filled with people. There is one night Jimin remembers clearly. His voice is barely above a whisper when he admits that he is tired. Not physically tired, but tired of the world. Jungkook does not respond with a long speech. He simply moves closer, sits nearer and softly says, "I'm here." Those two words nearly bring Jimin to tears. Because within them lives a promise. There is protection. There is home. Jimin understands that his love is not about possession, but about a healthy, grounding connection. He wants to stand beside Jungkook as an equal, not behind him. And yet, knowing that Jungkook will always be ready to step half a pace ahead when needed, that knowledge brings a peace unlike any other. Jungkook is strength without pressure. Jimin is softness without fragility. And when they stand together, the world feels balanced. Jimin never openly says that he cannot be separated from Jungkook. He does not need to. The way he always finds his way back to Jungkook's side, the way his eyes search for him in crowded spaces, the way his smile becomes freer when Jungkook is near, these are answers loud enough on their own. Their love is not a shout. It is a whisper that lasts. In Jimin's eyes, Jungkook will always be too handsome, not because of visuals alone, but because of his strong heart and his sincere intention to protect. And Jimin, without hesitation, chooses to remain by his side, today, tomorrow, and for as long as time allows. Because for Jimin, the world may change endlessly. But as long as Jungkook stands beside him, he knows he will be okay. And in the end, this story is not about how loudly the world sees them. It is about how they continue to find each other amid endless noise. About Jimin, who always returns to Jungkook's side without doubt. And about Jungkook, who stands calmly, strong, loyal, and ready to protect without ever needing to be asked. Perhaps the world sees only two stars shining brightly on a stage. But for them, their togetherness is something far simpler and far deeper. About safety, about presence, about someone who is always there when needed. At Diorpop, we believe that love does not always need to be spoken aloud. Sometimes, it lives in silence. In adjusted steps. In shoulders ready to be leaned on. And in hearts that choose to stay, day after day. Thank you for staying with this story until the end. If it touched your heart, continue to stay with Diorpop, a place where small moments filled with meaning will always have room to be remembered. Until we meet again in the next story.